Here we'll be looking into quantities and units. What are quantities? Quantities are parameters for measurement. And what are units? Units are parameters in which measurements are being carried out. Now we have two categories of quantities and units. One, fundamental quantities and fundamental units. Now I call it fundamental quantities and units. What are fundamental quantities and units? Fundamental quantities are basic standard quantities for measurement, which means they are generally accepted quantities. Now, why fundamental units are standard international units in which measurements are taken. What are those fundamental quantities and units that becomes generally accepted quantities and units? Here are the fundamental quantities which are generally accepted. Now, we have one, length, mass, time, temperature, electric current, and luminous intensity. What are those fundamental units? Unit of length is meter. Mass is measured in kilogram, kg. Time is measured in second. Temperature is measured in Kelvin. Electric current is measured in ampere. Luminous intensity is measured in candela. Now, how is dimension peculiar to all these quantities? Dimension shows the relationship between two or more fundamental quantities or derived quantities. Now, what is the dimension of length? The dimension of length is L, capital letter. Dimension of mass is M. The dimension of time is T. The dimension of temperature is K. The dimension of electric current is A, and the dimension of luminous intensity is J. Now, these are fundamental quantities and fundamental units. Now, what's the second category of quantities and units? The second category of quantities and units is derived quantities and units. What are derived quantities? What are derived units? Derived quantities are quantities for measurement obtained from the relationship between two or more fundamental quantities. Now, what are derived units? Derived units are units in which measurements are taken, obtained from the relationship between two or more fundamental units. Now, examples. Example of derived quantities and units. 1. Area. 2. Volume. 3. Speed, velocity, acceleration, force. And we have more examples aside all these ones listed. Now, why are they called derived? Because the formula for area is length times breadth, a relationship between two fundamental quantities, length and breadth. Breadth can also be length in fundamental quantity. Now, relationship between those two values gives area. Relationship between length, breadth, and height gives volume. Relationship between distance and time gives speed. Relationship between displacement and time gives velocity, and relationship between velocity and time gives acceleration. Relationship between mass and acceleration gives force. Now, the unit of area is meter square. Unit of volume, derived unit of volume is meter cube. Unit of speed is meter per second. Unit of velocity is meter per second. Unit of acceleration is meter per second square. Unit of force is kilogram meter per second square. Now, here are the list of derived units. Now, with this, you should be able to understand the two categories of quantities and units, which is the fundamental quantities and units, and derived quantities and units. Thank you.